All right, so April the 8th, we all know this eclipse is happening, and it's got North America on the edge of its seat. And I wasn't going to make video about this, but I thought, you know what, let's just put together something quick just to share my thoughts. And so here's where I stand. Number one, eclipses have been happening for thousands of years. There's nothing intrinsically significant of eclipses in and of themselves. They're happening all the time. Natural phenomenon. Number two, but when you look at the Bible, oftentimes God speaks through the heavens, signs in the heavens. We see it all throughout Scripture. Like, God can speak in a limited number of ways, but one of the main ways he speaks is through creation. And so he speaks over and over again through the signs in the heavens. And so I think that that's interesting. Now, the reason why I think it's interesting for this particular eclipse is because there's been a ton of videos out there that are making these interesting connections with the path of the eclipse. 7 years ago, 2017, there was another eclipse. And when you look at that path, it crossed over 7 cities that were all named Salem, which translates to peace. And then when you look at the flight path of this particular eclipse that's happening, it's going to be passing through a number of cities, but 7 of those cities are all named Nineveh. Now, is that a coincidence? And when you map out the eclipse line from the last eclipse and this one, and they intersect like an X, in the middle part of that X, it happens to be a place called, I think it's Rapture, Indiana. Now, again, I'm not saying the rapture's happening on this eclipse. When it comes to eschatology, I think that no one knows, and we're not going to know until it happens. People have their opinions and their theories and their beliefs, but when it comes to eschatology, nobody can emphatically say, I know the answer, until it happens. But when you compile all this data, you look at that word rapture there and what it symbolizes and represents, and when you see the 7 cities all called Nineveh, I mean, it's too crazy to be a coincidence. And when you look at the biblical story involving Nineveh, Jonah and Nineveh, it was a sign of impending judgment. And so I think that this could be God speaking to humanity, speaking to us in North America here, speaking to his church, saying, I'm coming soon. Judgment day is coming. I'm coming soon. That could be all that it is, which in and of itself would be amazing. The fact that God would be communicating that message, I think that's awesome. But number 3, when you look at, there's just other things that are just very suspicious. And I definitely have a conspiracy theory bent to me. And when you look at a place that's called CERN over in Switzerland with the Large Hadron Collider, the fact that they're waiting until April the 8th during the eclipse to turn that sucker on, they knew about this eclipse for so long. And they could have flicked that sucker on today, they could have flicked that sucker on tomorrow, or the day after, April the 9th. But they're waiting until April the 8th, the time of the eclipse. Why? Why are they waiting? And so when you do some digging into CERN, it's covered with pagan imagery. On the outside of it, on the inside of it, there's a whole bunch of pagan symbolism. And I think they even suggest or admit on, someone sent me an article about it this week saying how even on their website, they admit that they're trying to get to and open up and connect with different dimensions. And then when you dig deeper into it, ultimately what they're trying to do with turning this sucker on is opening up a portal. And that's a whole other rabbit hole in itself that I'm not going to get into in this little video here. But suffice to say, they're waiting until the eclipse to turn it on. Now, could it be there's something in the supernatural realm, in the spirit world, that unlocks maybe the veil that separates our realm, the natural realm, from the spiritual realm, becomes thinner? There could be, like, who knows what's going on, and all of those areas that I have absolutely no expertise in, but I just find it very interesting, and I don't think it's a coincidence. And so, to conclude, number 4, I don't think the world's ending on Monday. It's not going to end. I think that this could be, at the very least, just God communicating to humanity. But then on the other side, something could still be happening, even if we can't necessarily see it or perceive it right now. And so, for all my conspiracy theory friends out there, we're just left speculating, and we'll see. But I don't think the world's ending, and there's not going to be some massive cataclysm that's going to come. I don't think that at all. But yeah, so these are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Disagree? Maybe share some of your own in the comment section below. And we will see what happens April the 8th for the eclipse.